They've really made the pivot to just doing the big stories.
Let's go.
It's an amazing pivot from the original conception. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DMVR Nuggets podcast.
Whoa,
guys, look where we are.
Boisterous.
I mean,
Holy
there's energy
smokes,
in the
dude.
room. There's
If
energy
you were
in the
wondering
air.
if Brendan Vogt is back, Brendan Vogt is back.
Wednesday.
It's so back. So back. We are so back. Guys, we got a great show for you lined up today. We're here in Studio A, first of all.
The lounge, dude.
Yeah, I haven't been down here for, I think it was game 5.
It still smells faintly of stale champagne and happy tears.
That one black and mild I lit without permission.
Yeah, dude.
I can smell that. And
That was actually
It
hilarious.
does smell.
That wasn't thought out.
Yeah. It's wild how the light of day can shine on some decisions.
It would have been epic, though, if the sprinklers went off in the bar, packed with people that night. That would have been actually a really cool thing that could have happened.
that's what I was going for.
That's what we're going for. Guys, today we have a great show for you lined up because we have some crazy off-season, deep off-season topics for you. I want to ask, there's always a scapegoat, and if things go bad for the Nuggets, who is
Vote.
like...
I'm not on the show. Not on the show.
Too real.
Who is positioned to be the scapegoat? Well, that might be a better topic, to be honest with you.
Who's the
First of
scapegoat
all,
of the show?
He's right.
Let's go here.
He's right.
I mean, Kale's ahead of you. Come on, man.
I do.
He's on vacation.
He's on vacation.
Someone's got to be
Super
the squid.
scapegoat,
You know?
Kale.
Super scapegoat. No, for the Nuggets, you guys. For the
Oh,
Nuggets. Who's in
okay.
position for everyone to say it's all his fault if something bad happens to the Nuggets? More importantly, who's standing in Jamal Murray's way? This is the year he's going to be an all-star, I think. But then you start going through the list, and you're like, it's going to actually be pretty tight. It's going to be
I know.
hard.
This is the thing. These conversations never come with the actual reality of the limited number of spots available. It's just like, this guy feels like an all-star.
Oh, yeah.
He should be an all-star.
Dude, it's because, you know how when you're just feeling it, things are blowing like, oh, Murray, he's a lock for all-star.
All-star,
And then,
Hall of Fame.
then the All-Star game is not for another 7 months, and by then the feelings will all be gone, and we'll be living in a prisoner of a new moment. We're going to talk about the most ethical championships.
Let's go.
Since Jordan.
Let's go.
I can't wait. We're going to rank that in
Objective
our
list.
top 5.
Dude, we don't win. We win the right way.
We do run the right way. And
They
then
love to hear
lastly,
that. They love
we're going
that
to
one.
really put ourselves through the ringer where we're going to snake draft teams we don't hate. First round might
Oh
be
my
kind of
God.
easy.
Do we have to-
It's going to become harder and harder.
Hold on. Do we have to stay in the NBA?
Yes.
Because this is going to be impossible for me.
Shanghai Sharks. You're like, I'm all in on them.
No, I'd be like the Broncos.
The Broncos.
But I don't
no.
even know if they'll make my list,
NBA
honestly.
teams, we're going to make ourselves really uncomfortable. But first, let me introduce my esteemed panel, all showing off their legs today in Studio A. Look who it is. It's D-Line Co.
What's up, guy? Here for my legs.
That's rough. You want to start really rough.
What was that?
Well, I don't know. I'm put off by the idea of the legs in general, as you know. But I'm happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, you are happy to be here.
Well, Carol's in the chat.
she
Let's
says
go,
she likes the
Carol.
legs.
So the legs,
Your
here they
legs
are,
stay
Carol.
over
Ask and
there.
you shall receive.
Brendan Vogt.
Wore the Showtime shirt today because that's just
baby.
kind of how I'm feeling inside. And dressing should be an expression of how you feel. You know what I mean?
Also, it's a great hat, man. I really like that.
Oh,
hat.
thanks,
I
dude.
dig
Yeah.
that one. I want to warm up and spend a lot of time on the Jamal Murray thing, so we're going to do that segment too. I want to start with the downer. We'll pick ourselves up as we go.
Cool.
Every year there's a scapegoat. It's somebody's fault. It's somebody's fault when something goes wrong. Maybe the Nuggets get off to a slow start.
Yep.
Maybe there's a trend, a statistical trend, like the bench not being good.
Yep.
So I wanted us to
Maybe that'll happen.
Maybe that's it.
I don't know. I will say the longer I think about this, the more I'm like, I think the bench is going to be average.
Perfect.
What?
I know. I'm talking myself
Dynasty!
into it.
Dynasty!
When I say scapegoat, guys, who is in the unfortunate position in your mind to, at this very moment, be most likely to be the scapegoat for the Nuggets if things go poorly?
Bro, there's one answer.
The's an obvious
There's
one?
only
I
one
agree.
answer. If we were allowed to bet on this, maybe we can talk to our friends at Bet365.
Ooh.
Can we bet on who the scapegoat is? Minus 1,000.
That high? I don't think it'd be that high.
Reggie Jackson.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about this thought experiment, guys. We have been skeptical of Reggie Jackson, right? We've talked about maybe Jalen Pickett replaces him. Maybe they will, whatever. But here's the thing. Doesn't by doing this exercise kind of prove that Reggie Jackson is in a very tight spot, a very difficult spot?
Yep.
That it's like, hey, man, we might be setting ourselves up to overreact to him and blame him for things that aren't his fault.
Totally. And this second unit is on an incredible run of not looking great and point guards taking the blame. And I think there's a lot to that, but it's probably not going to be a super awesome unit. And the one thing everyone really hoped would change, once Bruce left, was the backup guard spot, and it really didn't. So I think the other thing is there's the potential Malone dynamic of he really leans on Reggie quite a lot, not just playing him, but leaning on him early, trusting a vet. And I think sometimes when Scapegoat really starts to happen here in Denver, it has a lot to do with who Malone is playing too much, almost more so than what they're individually responsible for.
Totally. The larger question, if it's like right, basically, to blame the loss of a team on one guy, it never is. It never is. That's the whole point. The Scapegoat
rarely is.
I'll give Mason Plumlee 1.
But even still, I mean, yes, the Scapegoat is always. Well, I guess Will Barton wore that crown pretty proudly as a starter, which is pretty remarkable. It's usually somebody off the bench, usually somebody that really honestly doesn't have enough time to even affect the game. But there's just that one guy you can be like, oh, man, if we Reggie Jackson, guaranteed. Sorry, Reggie. I'm just preparing you. The other, do you want to talk about other candidates?
Hold on. I want to stay here for one thing because Vogt raised a great point. Point guard, like if you're a power forward, you might just float. Like Zeke will be on this list maybe later on.
He's got the ball in his hands.
Yeah, but the point guard is like, you get blamed for everyone else being like Zeke Naji shooting port. Well, the point guard's not setting him up, man. He's not getting easy shots. The point guard in particular is more likely. And then I was thinking about this. We all loved Monte. Who else have we loved as backup point guard? I mean, there haven't been that many, but
ironically, Jameer Nelson.
We hated Facu.
Yep.
I liked Jameer personally, but the fan base hated him because he was playing more in front of Moutier and this or that.
And ironically, who they hated at backup point guard was Bruce Brown, the guy that we can't we're hamstrung by not having it.
But I do think that's it. I think there's been and by the way, the point guard bears some responsibility. You've just had a unit that has failed multiple tests across 2-3 years. And I think the easiest thing to do is to point at the floor general and say, why don't you have this looking different?
All right, so who's number 2? I think number 1 was easy. Again, this isn't even commentary on Reggie. It's more the spot he's in.
Listen, we're not saying we don't like Reggie Jackson. We've seen into the future. We know how the fan base, reacts to certain things. It's like Reggie already got a little bit.
I will say this about Reggie, because I really love Pickett, as you guys know.
After it's the first time hearing of this.
But after Summer League, I think I'm actually a little bit lower on Pickett's. No, not on Pickett as a player, but on his ability to break into the lineup.
Yes.
I agree. I just think that his style of play in particular is so unique that it's going to be hard. Like you don't just give him one game and it's like everything's great.
Right.
So
and you have to really buy in on the idea that the second unit is Pickett ball time. Like you got to really build around that concept.
And I think he can fit in on not playing that style. I just don't think he can in one game. Like I think he's gonna need reps. But we might be riding or dying with Reggie this year, and I just think mentally you almost want to prepare for that.
Sounds like we're riding with Reggie.
That's what I'm saying. Like you want to ride, you don't want to be.
We're riding, baby.
One of the worst ways to be an analyst or a fan is to predict a bad thing and then sit and root on that
and wait for it to happen.
No, well, root for it to happen. Yeah, that's I can't wait for Reggie to ruin this for us so I can be right.
Yeah, you're just waiting in the wing. I told you.
Yeah, I told you. I knew it. I was right. All right, who's number 2?
I think it is Michael Porter Jr. I will point to the chat who was very quick to bring him up. And I think obviously a small sample size, but
I think it's wild too.
I think whether or not this is how it should work, by the way, you guys know my feelings on the situation.
You mean the fact you're wearing the Showtime shirt?
What makes you say, that. When you're talking about scapegoatism, contracts matter. And it shouldn't matter.
Always. I know.
The Nuggets just won a title as constructed with that starting 5. But let's say hypothetically, I'm not expecting this, but let's say hypothetically, Porter is struggling in the first half of the year. The chat in our shows will be bringing up the contract for sure. They'll be bringing up the contract. And so, by the way,
I love the idea of when you sign him to that contract, we'll see if he lives up to it. They won a title.
They won a
title. Literally doesn't. He lived up to it.
He
gets injured and doesn't play again. Lived up to the contract.
Totally how I feel. But I don't think that's how it's going to be treated as we go. The other thing is, I think while I feel better about the floor than ever, it is also fair to expect a little more from Porter. Okay, is a leap coming? He did more than enough last year.
Can he literally leap?
But a lot of potential, a lot of money. It is also okay to just sort of sit back and wonder, is he going to get better? Can we expect him to get better? And if he doesn't, should he be held to that standard?
You're right. Obviously, MPJ, a very big focal point for the Denver Nuggets fans. And I will say the last vision we had of him was like less than we were expecting in the finals.
Yeah.
You know, we won the finals, and he was a big reason we got to that place, obviously. But you're right. They could. You did hear people. You heard little whispers, some frustration, and the team won the championship. Right. So it's they won the championship handedly.
So let me give you. Here's what's funny about Michael Porter Jr. He was the 14th pick, right? He actually has lived up to every contract he has had in the NBA.
Yep.
When he was on a rookie contract, he played 2 out of 4 years, and he played those 2 years at a very good level for the 14th pick. I would argue that in those 2 years, he had like close to a Gary Harris level impact, if not higher peaks, maybe slightly lower values or valleys. But he was on a rookie scale contract. Zeke Naji, for example, in his first 3 seasons, has played fewer minutes than Michael Porter did in his first 3 seasons, despite the fact that one of those he didn't even play. So on his rookie contract, he's actually lived up to it. In his one max year contract, the Nuggets won an NBA championship with him as a very key player, the third leading star.
Well, was that the stated goal?
So I think what people are thinking about is more, going forward, if he only plays every other year, this or that. And I would just argue and say, wait till it happens, man. Wait till it happens. Pre-complaining about a thing that hasn't happened. He's lived up to every contract he has had so far.
And they won a championship. They finished the goal. No one's ever done that here before.
They never have.
By the way, if you're new to the show, this does not reflect my feelings on Michael Porter Jr.
But I will say this. I
stage.
actually don't even understand if you throw those caveats out that I just think are very, again, logically taught. I would say I still don't get why he would be the scapegoat. Think about it this way. Michael Porter is actually a very consistent player in the regular season. The only way he could be a scapegoat, he gets hurt or something, but then it's like weird to make a guy a scapegoat getting hurt.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, play-wise, he's not going to be bad. We want him to make a leap, and I don't know if he will. But if he doesn't make a leap, guess what he's going to do? Shoot the 3 ball really well. Have an incredible on-off plus-minus because he's going to play with the starters a lot and not with the bench, and it's going to look amazing. He's going to rebound. He's going to make plays. I actually don't think he would not be on my list, not of what should be, but what will be, because I just don't think he'll be a scapegoat.
The only way scapegoats happen is with failure, and I don't think the Nuggets starting unit can have failure.
I agree. Yeah.
Like,
that's well said.
If the team starts losing a lot, maybe, but I can't see it.
Yeah. All right, so the next guy, who would be the next guy on your guys' list?
Zeke.
Who does you agree with this?
I think so. I think so. Yes.
Yeah, Zeke Naji stepping up into what we expect to be a larger role this year. But it's the bench, man. Almost always, because of the Nuggets construction, their starting unit is just airtight. It's just like, what are you going to be? You can't be mad about somebody in that starting unit. They've shown that they're probably the best unit in the entire NBA. So tough to get mad there. People can do it. I know that there's a lot of mental gymnastics you can achieve when you're angry, but the bench unit has been frustrating forever. Every bench unit in the NBA is frustrating. That's why they're bench players and not starting players. But like, there's a good chance that Zeke comes in. A lot of these guys are going to be vying for what is perceived as Bruce Brown's minutes in his position. So there'll be a lot of like looking at like what Bruce Brown's value was in the playoffs and being like, why can't Zeke is you just get mad because it feels like a step down. Me and the folks at Bet365, we actually did talk about this earlier. Me and Bet365, we put this at minus 150.
Really? That's really high. That's more likely than not that he will be the scapegoat.
Well, but in context of the minus 1,000 for Reggie Jackson.
Okay, what do you think? Is he the next most likely guy?
I'm going to throw a name out there that this might seem incongruent with everything we've been saying and predicting over the last couple of months. And still, Michael Malone.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no
I've thought about this a lot.
I don't know. I disagree.
You know what, though? Okay.
Teflon Mike?
Should it be Michael Malone after that playoff run? Absolutely not. Do Warriors fans give a shit?
Yeah, I know. No, they go at Kerr.
They think Steve Kerr should be fired.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
So I do think that if it's December and the defense is annoying and they lose 3 games in a row,
Peyton Watson hasn't played
there's
yet
just
for
gonna
some
be,
reason.
yeah, they're like, and he keeps playing Reggie, you know, and you just
so
play
right
the
about
hits,
this.
baby. Play
You're
the
right
hits.
about this. People are always ready to fire back up the Fire Malone machine. It's really like
There were some Heat fans that were like, what is Spoelstra doing, man?
Here's the thing, though. As much as you are pretty right about the logic you got there, I actually think there's somebody in front of him for the exact same reasons. And this is why, for me, probably number 2 on my list would have been Calvin Booth.
Whoa.
Now, Calvin has an enormous
Bro.
range of outcomes because he can either be even more thought of as like a super genius. I mean, again, he is 1 for 1 on being a GM and winning championships. So if things go well and his young players, everything's going to go well, he's going to be looked at as a genius. But we've only heard the national media talk about the Nuggets in the offseason a few times so far. And the only one I can really think about is Brian Windhorst saying that the Nuggets had a horrible offseason. A horrible offseason. Why? Because they didn't bring in any vets and they got young players. If the Nuggets get off to a slow start and the bench doesn't look good, and these young players like Peyton Watson are not coming through in a way, and the bench looks just like it did last year, by the way, when everyone was like, what a bench that they've assembled. By the playoffs, it was what a bench. But if it looks the exact same, -8 per 100 possessions or whatever, people are going to look around and say, how did Calvin Booth bring this back in a title defense year? I think even Michael Malone playing guys, I think people will rationalize it by saying, well, what do you expect Malone to do? He's only been handed rookies and unproven players.
I'm so outraged at these hypothetical idiots. Who do you think you are, you hypothetical idiots?
Oh, we're
How
so
can
bad.
you say that?
Do you now, given that argument vote, does it change how you view the Malone thing? Like Malone might have a shield?
I actually just think that there's like an immediacy thing of a fan base going to a coach.
Yeah, that is
Where like
fair,
the
that's
Booth
true.
thing, the arguments sound, but you have to like sit and think about it long enough. And I think it's more of an emotional, immediate, like, why did you play that guy again? And that's just going to happen every year. I don't think you can escape it.
I just think Malone, though, you're right that nobody does have full immunity as a coach. I think he has as close to immunity as you can, though.
He's just like, he should at every moment, like a lot, like he should wear just polos and 3/4 zips and allow just a little bit of the tattoo to be seen, just flashing every now and then. Yeah, like in the like,
huddle.
oh, just like
I just like your idea that he becomes. I just like that he becomes a little bit more Queen's Mike every
too.
year.
Me
Like
too.
this year, I
Mikey
wouldn't mind if
Diamond?
he did have a little necklace.
No, I think we need to call him like Mikey Gold. Mikey Gold.
And then the last one for me would be Peyton Watson. I mean, the Nuggets, look, man, they kind of need him to be good. And if he's just not, for whatever reason, and that bench unit is struggling, I do think that he will be a guy there. The fan base goes from very excited to why isn't he making the leap we all said? And I do think that fan bases are the Nuggets fan base is almost projecting the leap any player makes in 1 year. Like they're extrapolating too much. I think the guy people think Peyton Watson will be this year is the guy he'll be next year, if that makes sense.
The thing that I don't think people usually get mad at defensive first players though. Like
What if he's not though?
well, if he's bad at defense, I just don't think that's possible unless he gets hurt.
No, I think he can be bad at the cerebral part of defense. Like, can he be bad at missed rotations,
Possible.
and blown assignments?
I see what you're saying. I'll throw another name into the hat, into the ring though. Justin Holiday.
I mean, if he plays, yeah.
That's what I mean. Could he be like Jeff Green or something where you're
Right,
like,
that's the
you're like,
argument.
and then you're like, why is this guy getting minutes and P Watt isn't or whatever?
I'm going to Malone if that's the case.
I can't.
Yeah, I think go right to Malone. You're right.
Go straight to
First of all,
Malone.
I might personally go to Malone at that point.
I'd be like, come on, man.
Look, we know we
really?
talked about the jersey thing. Just hear me out for a second.
Oh man, I'm so mad.
I do think going back to the Zeke thing, whoever is
I love that you're angry.
straw men got us fired.
How could you guys be saying this?
a month ago.
I know, Leo. There hasn't been a basketball game played since the last one where they won the title.
Hold on, time out. Us giggling about this, though, this is the real difference between last year and this year. This is the real difference between a championship team, is that we're all laughing at how ridiculous these things are because
Yeah.
our life is too perfect right now.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You know,
isn't
it actually is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Last
dude.
year, we would have been really mad, like, gosh, dang it. This year,
'cause-
we're like, ah.
Yeah, because like it has been revealed to us that our dreams were not dreams.
Yeah.
They were just a mere vision into the future, into a brighter future that we now live in. And now we live in this future. How can we be mad?
Yeah, how could we?
We'll do it though. Man, Justin Holiday, get your shit together.
I do think whoever the backup center is, so Zeke or even if DeAndre Jordan plays
I'm so mad.
Just because they're not
so mad.
Jokic.
Well, this was a fun experiment.
Yeah,
We're
dude.
all going to be furious by the time this is
Well,
all
that's the nature of sports. I mean, can you imagine if we just float through next season, just like we're like,
No, hey man, look, the Warriors did the 73 win. I mean, they didn't finish it off, but that second year after the title was the vibes year.
yeah.
Would you rather that, or would you rather just another like, hey, they got to fight, they're underdogs, everybody counted them out, and then they go 16 and 4?
Do I want misery or elation? Let me think about this.
No, I'm just saying. It's but it was elation when like everyone counted the Nuggets out, and then they just punked everyone in the playoffs.
Do I want to feel good every day or just extra good one day?
Extra good at the end. Yeah,
I'm ready to feel good.
You're
every
ready for
goddamn day.
like a 70 win, 65 win
We're living
season.
the Smuggets era. I'm looking to.
Oh, the true Smuggets.
I've said this. I want other teams to hate the Nuggets by year end.
Just close your eyes when they play defense in October. Just
Yeah.
give it a couple
Hey man,
years.
I don't know. I'm with D-Line. The Lakers in 2000
Yeah.
eked it out. 2001 steamrolled everybody. Sometimes it happens. That
I
second
want
year.
Lakers Twitter to like just get fixated on the Nuggets. And they make like they're like, the chicken. They have all like these things they post, and we're just like,
They
with our
all go
legs kicked
viral
back.
because there's
dude.
so many of them. They
And,
think
like,
they're funny.
And what they have to do is they have to start focusing on like Jamal Murray's girlfriend and stuff. Like what we do with Patrick Mahomes. We're like, God damn, he's too good. His wife though. That's what I want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Alrighty, let's take our first break. On the other side, let's talk about Jamal the All-Star.
This episode of DNVR Nuggets is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is important. It's not always convenient, but it can be with BetterHelp because it's designed to be. It's entirely online, flexible, suited to your schedule. You just got to fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. I think we've come a long way in society with destigmatizing this, but there's more to go. There's more room to go. And if you have thought about therapy and you're on the fence for any reason, do consider BetterHelp as a starting point because of that convenience and that flexibility. And that's the world we live in 2023, being able to do things from Zoom, from your home. I think that's going to be built into life and it's not going anywhere. And so don't let, in that sense, access be the barrier between you and mental health treatment.
Take that step.
Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/DNVR today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR.
Yeah, your only strategy for dealing with anger in your life can't just be directing it at Yusuf Nurkic.
That's
what I do.
That seemed to work fine for you.
Do I seem like I'm in a good place?
Do you think you're gonna hate Nurkic? You know what?
No, I don't even hate
He's kind of like
Nurkic.
irrelevant. You know?
I know. I need to find.
All of our foes have been
I
so
need a scapegoat.
smited.
I need a new scapegoat.
All right.
Well, listen, you guys know I'm not a professional gambler, but I like to dabble. You know what I really love? The live in-game betting. And did you know Bet365, they pioneered live in-game betting. Ooh. And today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting. We're talking 80 million users worldwide. They've got 780,000 events each year that are streamed, and they're the proud partner of the Colorado Rockies. Turn $1 right now into $200 of bonus bets when you join Bet365. Download the app, deposit $10, and claim your $200 in bonus bets as soon as you place a bet for $1. Download the Bet365 app now. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Got to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All righty, we're back. Segment 2, DNVR Nuggets. We're going to talk now about Jamal Murray because I think, and I said, and Zach Lowe even sat in this very chair when we had him on the show and was like, Jamal will be an all-star next year, even if he averages 19 points per game. And we all were feeling it because Jamal was coming off of like 15 of the best games he's ever played in his life en route to demolishing some of the greatest players in the league currently.
I loved when he did that.
I did love when he did that as well. By the way, shouts to CT Fazio. Did you see he posted that maybe the greatest moment of the entire playoff run really was it game 2 with Murray, but it wasn't just Murray. It was also Michael Porter. It was just caught fire and just like put that game pretty much on ice. That was such a fun moment. But as you start to go through the names, it's actually so freaking hard. Now, here's where we start. There's 11 spots, okay? Let me give you the guys who are locks, in my opinion, locks. Like Jamal Murray could average 30. I still think it would be hard for him to overtake. First of all, Jokic. Okay, you guys agree so far?
Yeah, I'm in.
Steph Curry.
Okay, fine.
Again, I'm assuming health. Steph Curry is just a lock.
Lock.
LeBron James.
Lock.
Heard of him.
Luka Doncic.
Lock. Luka Doncic.
All right,
Nice.
here's where I still think yes, but Devin Booker.
Well, he's in.
Wasn't he? His first All-Star appearance was last year, right?
No, it was before that.
No, it was before
been
that.
in
He's a
few.
lock. He's a lock.
He scores like 30 a game and he shoots like a ridiculous.
And he's a
I just want
perimeter
all the
guy. He's a
information.
lock. No.
I think Booker is a lock.
He's a
I
lock.
think Kevin Durant's a lock.
I do too.
And Damian Lillard is a near lock, but I still
but
think
he
it's
might
a
not
lock.
be in the Western
I
Conference.
was gonna ask. I've been gone for a while.
He might not be in the Western Conference.
Any updates, or is he still?
He doesn't.
Is he a Blazer still?
He's still a Blazer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I asked.
But he's loyal though.
Well, yeah, it's
He
not
doesn't-
easy for him to leave. But
Yeah.
if he's out west, he's in the conversation.
I feel
So I like
end
this.
of work every day.
So
I'm
we're
like,
gonna
I'm
call
loyal.
this-
It's not easy for me to leave.
We're
And
gonna
then I
call
leave.
this 5.5 because we're not sure if Dame will be in the West or not.
Okay. All right.
All right, now let's go into the competition. So we're at roughly 5.5 spots.
Yep.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, let's just go ahead and say it, is going to have better regular season stats
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Murray, in large part because he doesn't have a co-star like like Murray has Jokic.
I can't sign off on that.
Why? You're talking about who is a better player, but
Yeah.
I'm saying who is going to have the better all-star case.
Well, I'm using who's a better player as to who could have a better season.
You have to put yourself outside of Eric's brain and into the mind of NBA voters. And just let me say this: what would you
who's
guess?
to
Shai,
say that Chet doesn't eat into a lot of SGA? I mean, listen, we don't even know what that team looks like.
let me just ask: how many points do you think Shai scored last year?
25.
31.5.
He's good. I'm not saying he's that good.
It's not like he's a little bit above Murray in
but
scoring.
here's
He
the thing-
scored 10 more points.
But
a
here's
game.
the thing about Jamal Murray that
7
I
more
know
points a
from
game.
watching him all this time is that this is the first season he's going to be coming in healthy.
It's a good point.
Inspired and in like I want to kill you shape. The man has been working out all offseason in a way that we've never seen before. He's
True,
like
he has been around
practicing-
a lot.
Dude, he's been practicing. Like he has the taste for it now, and we know what he's capable of. Like,
And he has the playoff thing. Like, here's the thing. Here's Murray's case is that the guys that you could say he's in the same tier of when you're making a case for All-Star, you're going to have to ask yourself, yeah, but did those guys do what Murray does at his peak? And the answer for all of these guys, including Shai, is going to be no.
No.
But is it close enough to be able to make that? I just think 31 points
Yeah,
like Shai.
yeah.
My like sincere belief is that we are going to see a regular season Murray like we have never seen in Denver, Colorado this year.
I
Because
love that.
My body's ready.
I just don't. Listen, he came in at his highest peak after the bubble, and then he admitted like he just took a ton of time off. Came into the season out of shape. Wasn't like really ready to go. Didn't see a lot what we wanted out of him. Then he gets hurt. There's just like something that has like prevented him from having the ascension that has followed into the regular season each time. There is no reason this time why he can't hit his playoff levels in the regular season.
I'd just be shocked if his statistical case is better than SGA's.
We'll see.
I'm with Adam on this one. But the larger point, of course, I subscribe to.
I'm betting Jamal, dude. I'm betting Jamal.
over Shai. So if there was one spot left, you're just going to gun to your head. You would say, "I'll bet Jamal gets it over Shai next year."
I believe that Jamal Murray has really truly arrived on the scene in the NBA this year in a way that he had not before. Like he was a nice story when he was dueling Donovan Mitchell. Ultimately, they failed. Like they couldn't quite get the job done. And like now he's really truly arrived, and people really truly look at him the way that we have. And I think that there is a reverberation we're going to get off of the playoffs that was fueling Zach Lowe's confidence that I share. Like people are going to look at these guys differently. Like Jamal Murray is just immediately starts in a higher tier now.
I just don't know if Shai.
It's
There's
possible.
still spots. There's still spots.
It's possible.
Let me go through because we were at 5.5. That to me makes 6.5. Let me just give you a half one here, and it goes to the front court. Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson. I think one of them will have it. One of them won't play enough games, and one of them will, and that guy will get in.
Then,
Again, as the
give,
corner.
give me AD then.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying collectively,
Yeah.
that'll turn into one. I'll give you another one. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I just doubt they either one of. I doubt both of them play enough minutes. I do think there's a chance that one of them does, and they'll get in.
Kawhi will get in.
So that gets us up to 7, 8. We're at 8. There's 3 spots left. Here we go. Here's where it gets really fun. Anthony Edwards.
This is an interesting one because I do think, as far as guys you're projecting some sort of observable leap onto, very comfortable doing that with Ant. I just think That playoff experience, I think, was really effing good for him. And I just, like a guy like that getting to taste that and succeed on that stage, I think probably informs how his offseason looks, how the start of his season looks. And I also just think he's insanely good and talented to begin with. So this is an interesting one. I would prepare for Anthony Edwards to be a considerably different candidate this time around than he was last year.
Yes, and I will say also, I think that we are higher on Anthony Edwards than the average person on the East Coast.
You think?
Because we watched him very
He's so
up close.
charismatic, though, man.
No, but we saw him up. This is what I'm saying with the Jamal thing.
Yeah.
That you can't pay attention to everything that's happening. You don't watch every series so closely. You don't watch Minnesota games that closely. We saw him up close in that playoff series, and everybody that wasn't already in on him was like, "Oh, this guy's different. Like this guy made a leap. Like this guy is." First off, clearly the son of Michael Jordan. We won't get into that, but he is like,
very clearly.
But he is. But it's like, oh, this is the same leap I'm talking about. The leap that we feel for Anthony Edwards, everybody will experience for Jamal.
Yeah, 8, 9, 10. So we are at, by my count,
I follow your logic.
9.5. Dame being in the West, that makes it 10. Dame getting traded into the East, that makes 9. So we're at 9.5. Here's where I think I personally have Murray making it, because there is 1 or 2 spots, and that's before maybe there's more injuries. Maybe there's fewer injuries and like all these guys like Kawhi and Paul George, and then it becomes really tough. But logic tells us 1 or 2 of these guys are going to fall out. Here's where I think you firmly slot Murray above the rest of the names. De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
De'Aaron Fox had an unbelievable regular season, a la a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but below.
Right.
But I think Murray and Fox are thought of more similarly comparable players. Maybe it's because they're both 6'5" and went to... Although Shai was also at Kentucky.
Yep.
Oh, man, what a weird... That's really weird.
I do think this is the one where what Eric was talking about absolutely vaults him in the public eye above.
Yes.
And the funny thing is Fox was great in the playoffs last year, but
I know,
they
really
lost
good.
in the first
Yeah,
round.
he was really good.
But they're still like a cute little story.
Yeah. Bradley Beal.
No.
Can we not talk about this one?
I honestly don't think he'll have like... I mean, I don't know. There's one ball, so until you know that they can figure that out.
I'm telling you, though, that's those guys are all going to get so overrated. It's going to be so annoying, man. I don't think he'll get it, though, but I still think there. Yeah, you have Domantas Sabonis, who I feel like the shine on him because he had such a bad playoffs.
He got roughed.
That shine is gone, bro. He's got to re-earn the shine, yeah.
You've got Jaren Jackson Jr., who could go either way because there's no Ja, so he might be the best player. Desmond Bane is also in this list. Like Memphis, to me, I actually think Memphis is going to be a top 4 seed by the All-Star break, and it's rare for a team there not to get one.
And does Bane get a boost because Ja's suspended? So
out.
Bane is the Memphis representative,
or Marcus Smart. I don't think it would be him, but you never know.
Sure,
but one of those
David
3
Roddy.
guys, I just think it's going to be very weird if you're a top 4 seed and you don't get an All-Star. I'll go ahead and say I think it's Jaren Jackson Jr., but we'll have to see. After that, you've got Brandon Ingram, who puts up crazy numbers. And if Zion doesn't play, Pelicans are probably going to get a Brandon Ingram. He's also got that LA thing.
Shout out chat there.
He's got that LA thing where all the Lakers fans still vote for him.
I guess so. I don't think that there's a big push for BI. I think he's actually like pretty ignored.
But
you think?
But I do think there's a conceivable world where Pelicans look good again by mid-season, and a large part of it is Brandon Ingram. And so it's that same argument. Are these guys not represented at All-Star Weekend? And if they are, then it's probably him.
Man, remember how excited they were to draft Zion Williamson? And like,
because he's an awesome, dominant player.
And then like what this has turned into, it's like such a mess.
Josh Giddey, I don't think OKC's getting 2 All-Stars.
Nope.
Lauri Markkanen, who got in last year, Utah might be sneaky good, and they like same thing if they're like a 5 or 6 seed by then.
Lowry will probably make it.
You think he will?
Yeah.
Over Jaren Jackson?
Maybe. He won most improved player.
I'm really interested about
Jaren
Larry's
Jackson's defensive player.
I'm really interested about Larry's incoming season because he looked really good in international play right before that year, and it's he's been in the league long enough that you don't necessarily think about leaps anymore, but he might just be a lot better than we thought.
You got John Collins, who I think is clearly below the list, although who knows, maybe like in Utah he's actually awesome and has just been ruined by trade, and he could be that guy that we're like, what? He's great? We didn't know.
Yeah.
And then Fred VanVleet, in Houston.
Freddie Velvet.
He might just get a million shots. He puts up numbers. He shoots crazy from three.
No way, dude. I'll
no
eat
way.
my hand.
Dude. I'll eat a bowl full of Velvet, yeah.
From doing this exercise now, guys, we slotted him in ahead of Fox, Anthony Edwards, Jaren Jackson Jr., Karl Anthony Towns, we didn't even mention, Sabonis, Ingram, and Bane.
Wasn't an accident.
This is a lot of players who I think, if you just told me either or, I take Murray every single time. But if you told me Murray or the whole field, then it's like maybe below 50%.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Because maybe one of those guys, just Lowry Markkinen, gets in more shots or whatever. So I say all that to say, I stand by what we all felt 6 weeks ago, that even if he averages 20 points per game, he'll get that bump as long as the Nuggets are playing well. But I will say this.
Oh, Kyrie Irving.
I do think, and Kyrie.
Yeah, good call, chat.
I think Kyrie might be a little bit harder. And he might get the vote, though.
But the fan vote part of it is
Although
what?
the coach, now they've lowered it so you don't just get the fan vote.
But he's a name worth mentioning.
I think this is going to be razor close. I think this will be one of the top topics around the Nuggets all year. And while I don't think it'll become a negative distraction, like I could see, one more week left in All-Star voting and Murray's taking 34 shots a game for the last 4 games, just trying to have the moment.
And looking us in the eyes like, I'm just playing my game.
I'm just playing my game. Yes, he's just jacking
like, listen,
15,
man, go
16
for it.
threes a game.
We're into it.
But I think it's going to be one of the top storylines. And going through this, I'm like, dude, it is so razor close.
Yeah, I get that. I think that last year and every year that what came before last year was just full of like innate doubt in everything that is Nuggets. Like no one gave them credit. They played for the Nuggets. You can easily just brush it off, not pay attention. And like this is the year of the flowers. Like this is the year where now people are going to look at the Nuggets differently and they're going to give them.
Do you feel that way about Pascal Siakam? You have to remember the Nuggets are the Raptors in most people's eyes.
I would say that I felt that way about the Raptors. Like
But Pascal Siakam, we're talking about Jamal Murray.
I think that it was widely regarded that Pascal Siakam was a superstar after that run, when before he was just kind of like Pascal Siakam. Like,
I don't even know if he's thought of as a superstar
but
now.
he's kind of like the team has fallen off and it's taken with him. Like this is actually
he went like this.
This is actually like kind of proves my point. Like there is a rocket ship of NBA respect, and like if you're on it. There are some teams that you get it if you're the Lakers, if you're just in these places that you get talked about a lot. But when teams get talked about, they get voted for.
Yeah.
And like now the Raptors aren't talked about, so he's like fallen out of the spotlight.
And here's the other thing. How much this factors into any individuals on any side of the fence vote, I don't know. But it is a showcase game. And what Jamal Murray did across 20 games in the playoffs, showcase, showed up, showed out. Like not just, the numbers are great. Like, have this three. There's nothing you can do about it. And it was the Lakers, and you all saw it.
Yeah, take that, Shai.
On the way out. Well, yeah, take that three on the way out.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, most ethical championship. This is misleading, but best / most ethical.
Just to make it clear, we won the title the right way. No one else has. We'll figure out who did it almost like we did.
Allow us to explain to you. I can explain this to you with my full chest and full honesty. Breckenridge Brewery is the official beer.
What an ethical brewer.
DNVR. Fun fact, I found a Palisade Peach out in my California travels.
You did?
Do you know what I did? I ordered it and I drank it because it's delicious, D-Line.
Well, that's actually kind of sad. You should branch out when you're traveling.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, there's no cameras. The sponsors don't even know.
You're like, I'm going to have McDonald's in Breckenridge.
They don't check my receipts. But I did have a Palisade Peach. Do you know why? Because it's delicious. And if you want to know where to find
Peach is delicious.
Palisade Peach or any Breckenridge Brewery beer, check out the Breck Beer Locator, or the easiest way, in my humble opinion.
Let's go.
Come to the DNVR bar on the corner of Colfax and York, where we serve a delicious variety of the Breckenridge Brewery goodness. Check them out. They're our friends. Let them be your beer providers as well. Speaking of friends, oh my goodness, folks, it's hot out. You may not be doing the best job hydrating or just thinking about your overall physical wellness. And that's why you got to check out our friends at IV Nutrition of the Washington Park location. IV Nutrient Therapy works on a foundational level by safely directly delivering vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients directly to the body. And by the way, did we mention they're big Nuggets fans over there? So I always say if you have to make small talk, make it about the Denver Nuggets, your NBA champions.
That's the biggest small talk.
Memberships are free, and 100% of your membership fee is applied to services of your choosing. Services include wellness blood testing and consultations, intramuscular injections with vitamin formulas, express lunch break drip, hydration drips, and more. Stop by the Wash Park location on the corner of Alameda and Downing. Anyone who mentions DNVR when they come in will receive 50% off. That's half off, folks. Their first IV nutritional drip. Call 720-259-4404 for more information.
Let's go.
Alrighty, back here, segment 3, and we're going to have a little fun here. It's part of our Bet365 weekly top 5. We're going to try to find the top 5 most ethical champions post-Jordan era, so starting in 99. Now here, guys, we have a bit of a system. What are we grading this? What does it mean, Adam, to be an ethical champion?
Great question, Adam.
We're going to grade this on, number 1, entertainment style of play. You know, that James Harden ISO ball. Is that ethical? It's a team sport, man. You just stand around the perimeter and
unethical.
Do this. Unethical. It's just not. It's not exciting. Nobody's going back and watching highlights of the old Rockets. You know, even though they didn't win. But
if half of your strategy is just to run into the lane, and
drawing fouls,
the least ethical way to play basketball.
So true. I'm glad you ethically assembled. Was this just like like nobody forced their way there? You didn't
just show up with daddy's deep pocket and start buying a bunch of stuff.
You didn't just buy a bunch of stuff. You know what you did? You did the hard way. The teamwork, ethically, man. And then lastly, were there epic performances, great moments, games, players rising to the challenge?
Will we remember you?
Will we remember you? We're going to go through. Okay. We're going to go through every one, and you're just going to tell me whether you eliminate them from contention or add them, and then we'll sort them at the very end. 1999, lockout year. Very hasty season, maybe the least real season in the history of the NBA.
Tough argument.
The Spurs win over the Knicks.
How were the Spurs constructed?
Hold on a second. It doesn't matter. They tanked. They tanked. They got Tim Duncan. Here's the thing. That is the number 1 least real title, and I'm not taking it because it is real. I'm just saying it's the least real, with the bubble being slightly more real. Only slightly more.
Can we clip that?
Just saying.
Adam Mara's on realness.
You don't take anything away from them. I don't take anything away from them. I'm just saying.
Just their ethical.
Just their access to the ethical club.
Everybody agrees on this, by the way. It sounds controversial. Let me just ask you this.
That's what this segment is all about.
Would it have made the Nuggets championship this year better or worse if it happened in a lockout-shortened season and where there were back-to-back-to-back games?
Worse.
It would make it worse. That's my point.
You're right. You're of course right.
2000, the Lakers defeated the Pacers 4-2.
Give us more back.
The Lakers had a nice Game 7 win over the Blazers, a really great Blazers team. They came back in the 4th down like 17.
How was the team constructed? Who's on this team?
It's the Lakers.
Unethical. Get out of here.
Yeah, take them out on principle.
You just take them out for that reason?
Well, I need to know, did they build through
I'll
the
say
draft?
this. I think it was the most ethical.
Did they benefit from a very suspicious trade?
Yeah, they kind of did.
Get out of here.
2001 Lakers dominant. They beat the 76ers. They go 16-1. Lots of highlights nonstop. They were dominant. Again, same ethical assembly, but style of play, scores extremely high. Epic performances from start to finish.
I think my biggest issue with these ones are the jerseys. That's the thing.
That's the Lakers.
I don't know if these are actually unethical chips.
I don't believe that the Lakers have shown that they are able to create an ethically sourced squad.
So any Lakers one is not going to be...
What they started off, they were like, okay, we're going to build the right way. We got D'Lo, we got Brandon Ingram. What? We could have who? Anthony Davis. Get the hell out of here.
All right.
Nothing ethical.
You're right. New rule. Lakers championships don't count.
Oh, ethicless. Man. 2002 Lakers over the Nets. That was the one where they stole from Donaghy's all over this one. They stole it from the Kings. This is horribly unethical. Horribly unethical.
This actually is criminal.
This is a criminal one.
It's deeper than not ethical.
I do feel like you could maybe make a case for 2000 Lakers. It was somewhat organic. Like the Lakers had been in like a decades-long slump.
Yeah.
But do we have to?
2003 Spurs. Here's the problem. Arguably the most boring of all the Spurs teams that ever happened.
Listen. Ethics does not... I disagree with
entertainment.
I don't think that's ethical. Ethical to me is, were you constructed in a way... Did this championship come together in a way that you can't say, like, that was a little outside the box, or that was a little outside of the realm?
Here's where the ethics come into it. If every team played like the 2003 Spurs, you would not be a basketball fan.
I mean, I'm barely a basketball fan.
I'm just saying that's like a team in football that wins like 9-6 and was just dominant. They all
You mean 2015 2023, 2024 Broncos? Oh yeah, the championship Broncos.
Which, by the way, the least enjoyed title
Dude,
ride of all
I'm
time.
telling you, I did not even enjoy that one. I would not watch that.
On the last day of the season, I was like, we're in first place?
They rate really high on the ethical scale, but they just were too boring. 2004 Pistons, same thing, man. I will say this, though.
No, it's extremely ethical.
But it was also
Incredibly
dope.
ethical.
It was also dope that
ethical
they
and
beat
dope.
the Lakers when everyone predicted. That would have been like
This might be this. If
This
not,
is one of the ethical
This is the
Okay.
yeah, dude. That's ethical city, Detroit.
So we're putting the 2004 Pistons on our list.
That's us. Denver's ethical city, dude.
2005, the
Off-season.
Spurs defeated the Pistons in what was arguably the greatest horrible finals ever. None of the games were close. The last, except for the last one, which
These
was
are
razor close.
We never
but
talk about it.
They won 92-88, I think, in overtime in Game 7. It was like a horribly boring.
But
one.
they did again. Like I want to play in a league where people win by doing the right things. They adhere to ethics.
Yeah, but the
they don't
entertainment
come
part
through the
plays part of it.
side door. They don't. This
is like
it's all above the board.
This is like
draft
2003. There was
John Cobbleman. What moral principle does boring play violate?
Yeah, see.
I'm telling you, because if everybody played boring, it would be bad for the league. If everyone played their style, you'd be like, you know what, this just isn't fun. I get that it's good and it works, but they invented Hack-a-Shack, right? Like, come on, man.
Okay. All right, listen. Okay, yeah.
And it worked. Guess what? Really smart. Really held the offensive ratings down.
Hack-a-Shack, not quite ethical. You sold me on that.
2006 Miami Heat. Dwayne Wade goes off. Donaghy also featured through this one. Lots of free throws. I think Wade took 30 free throws in one game.
We simply can't include any Donahue involved. It's like top 5. Nope, not in the list.
They're out. 2007 Spurs defeat the Cavs. That 2017.
Eloy says he's forgetting what ethical means. It's because Adam has sullied the pot.
Because we're destroying the
Here's what
concept.
ethical
That's
means.
because it wasn't supposed to be ethical. He wanted to make it ethical
There are
because it would go
something-
more viral.
There are things
Right?
about
That's what happened.
Well, that's unethical. What you just said. What business
The truth?
ethics are you play the game the right way, the way it is described. You use the tools that are given to you, and you don't use outside advantage that could be given to you because you are located in a certain place. You have more money that comes from
The
something
Spurs
that
are going
has
to
nothing
make
to
this
do
list
with
later on, man.
Yeah, dude.
These early Spurs ones, though, I
So
just can't
ethical.
do it. No, I can't do it. 2008 Celtics beat the Lakers.
Celtics beat the Lakers with the big three.
Yeah,
that they
this is
swindled.
Kevin Garnett
they absolutely
goes there.
swindled
Yeah.
Minnesota.
The big 3 that always seems to escape the super team allegations. It's so interesting.
Well, and they kind of were like the first
Not
one.
ethical.
Not ethical.
Unethical.
2009 Lakers beat the Magic.
Okay, we already.
They beat the Nuggets, though.
If the first word is the
They beat
Lakers,
the Nuggets.
just get it out.
Get
of
them
there.
out of here. 2010 Lakers beat the Celtics. That was like a revenge one. There were
Alright.
some iconic
This
moments.
is actually the best argument for a Lakers one.
I would
think,
argue too. 2010 Lakers.
And this is Kobe kind of getting it done.
I'm
Not
putting them on.
just
I'm putting them on the
Kobe,
list,
but
guys. I'm doing it.
I think they might be on the list.
It sucks. I hate the Lakers. They'll get eliminated later on, but I'm going to put them. I have to. They're going to call us too
Who else
biased.
was on that team?
Pau Gasol.
How'd they
Ron
get
Artest.
How'd they get
Meta
Pau
World
Gasol?
Peace.
Through super
To a trade.
a very curious trade.
Was it curious?
Yes.
Why?
It was definitely a horrendous
It
trade.
was because
They
it
got
was
Mark Gasol.
They
It was
did.
actually great.
No,
It
you're right. You're right.
didn't,
You're
but
right.
they
you're
weren't.
right.
It wasn't projected that way. It was clearly like everyone was like, "What is happening here?" If there's a moment where everyone's like, "What is happening?" You're like, for the Nuggets, for example, last year everyone was like, "How did they get KCP?"
All right, here's the best one. In 2010, you know what else happened? The super team era began in earnest.
Oh my God!
LeBron James goes over to Miami, but loses to
Yeah.
Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki, who had suffered for
This
years.
is the height of ethical.
Must be the most ethical title ever won.
It was such an
It honestly
ethical
might
title.
be. It honestly might be.
2012, the Heat defeat the Thunder.
Okay.
It's not bad, but it's not up there. I mean, whatever.
No,
It wasn't that great.
that was the Heatles. The Heatles
Yeah,
aren't ethical.
uninspired.
2013, Heatles beat the Spurs.
Unethical.
2014, the Spurs, who barely lost
This is
by
a great
just a
one.
hair,
This is a great
Ethical.
one.
they come back and play the most beautiful basketball I've ever
Ethical.
seen in my life.
Absolutely ethical.
The all-time single-season revenge tour ever.
Really, really an
Absolutely
all-timer.
ethical. Built from their own bootstraps. Second round draft picks and undrafted players. Extremely ethical.
2015 Warriors. Homegrown.
Very ethical. Very ethical.
New style
Very
play. I will tell you
Very
one thing,
ethical.
though. Hold on. Iguodala is the one sort of not so ethical piece there.
Well, I mean, that's not.
He's
you're
too
right.
small of a part, though. Like,
Yeah. No, that
lowers
that,
him a little.
That was well,
Not perfect.
Iguodala himself, his actions, very unethical.
No, but this is a great title. It's a great ethical title.
It is.
2016 Cavs. Breaks the curse. Beats the Warriors that won 73
Cleveland!
games.
3-1 comeback.
The Warriors, talk about
ethical.
smuggets. The Warriors went too far. Like, they became too smug.
Yeah.
And the Cavs kind of
And listen,
humbled
man,
them.
this is right before LeBron becomes fully insufferable.
You're right. This was the last good LeBron
He goes back
season.
to Cleveland.
You're
He
so
actually
right.
wins for them.
Yeah,
I
he
think
wins
this
for
one's on the
them.
list.
Is that an ethical move to go back to Cleveland?
He kind of stacked the deck. Like,
Was it ethical? We have to. This is the determining factor.
I'm putting it on the list, but I don't know if it's going to make the top 5. We're going
right, that's
2017,
fair.
2018 Warriors off the least ethical titles in the history
again,
of titles.
Criminal
Titles. 2019 Toronto Raptors.
Ethical
Why?
They did win a. They don't win that series if the Warriors are healthy.
because they
Great point.
They
That's
just
a
don't.
huge point.
because they built that team by making a very tough decision, trading one of their cornerstones that they
Yeah,
cultivated.
they killed their child, though, man.
but
DeMar
they,
DeRozan was theirs.
they did this in the right way.
They traded their child for a more beautiful child.
But at some point, you have to kill your child. Like you have to trade. You have to trade Gary Harris. You have to.
you don't.
I'd like
you don't
to
have kids, right?
respectfully
Right. Eric, just to be
disagree.
clear, you don't have any kids, right?
At some point,
Well, I don't need any more. We won the title, didn't we? But the point is, like, we maybe shouldn't say we shouldn't say kill your child.
Never look below the.
But you
the hood
have
there.
to, at a certain point, make a tough decision because you've built a team in such a way, and you have to make a tough decision
You're putting
to get
the
the
Raptors
last
on there.
place. the
biblically,
last peep in.
biblically speaking, Eric might be correct.
Yeah, biblically speaking, you're right. The Lakers in 2020, that one that happened in a bubble. Do you guys remember that one? Do you guys remember that series in the bubble? Where
I gotta be honest. It's so uninspiring.
It's so unethical.
I just
man. Are
don't
you
care
kidding me?
about it.
Nobody cares.
Just
And
don't-
that-
unless
it
the
came-
Nuggets had won it.
But
then
it also
would've
came
been.
because whatever.
Do you remember KCP saying that they practiced when they weren't supposed to be? Completely cheated the system. 2021, Bucks beat the Suns.
Ethical.
Yeah, this is ethical, man.
Ethical.
Yeah, I agree. That was an ethical title. Giannis had to make free throws to win
Ethical.
it, which he needed to do. Like,
Ethical.
that was very ethical. Also, they beat the Suns.
ethical.
Delicious.
So ethical.
That was delicious more than ethical.
Important. You
Yeah,
know?
that was
important.
2022, the Warriors beat the Celtics. They beat the Nuggets en route to it. Can't count it.
Well, but were the Warriors still they no longer had Kevin Durant, correct?
No.
Were they back to their ethical ways? I think they were. I believe that title was ethical.
I do too, actually. I actually
dang
love
it, I
that
don't-
that title happened
Me too.
because it's for them to get another one without KD is like, all right.
It really invalidates the
like,
KD
yeah,
one.
it's
Dude,
Yeah,
it was like
stuff out of my
they
face.
had been rehabilitated from their criminal ways.
And then the Nuggets beating the Heat. I mean, come on, guys.
The most
Arguably.
ethical title ever won.
All right, let's take our final break. On the other side, we're going to rank these because it is the top 5. We're going to have to rank them. The Bet365 top 5. What will it be?
That Denver Nuggets title is so ethical that
my
I do
God.
not recommend looking directly at it unless you have a pair of shady rays.
Oh, it's so ethical. It's
Future
hard
so
to-
ethical, I need shades.
Just so ethical you can't look directly at it. And it's important to protect your eyes when life gets all bright and ethical. It's also important to look good. It's also, in my opinion, very important not to pay too much for sunglasses because they sit on your face. Sometimes you lose them, sometimes you break them, sometimes you realize they make your face look worse than you thought.
That's
Which-
a guy that doesn't value the vision of his face.
But
to
with
others.
Shady Rays, you can exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days because there's just no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use code DNVR for 50% off. Whoa! 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And do not stare at that Nuggets title directly.
No.
Backus and Schenker. If you do, you might get hurt.
Tying them together, I love it.
And then you can call Backus and Schenker. They probably won't help you because you did it to yourself.
They're like, hold on. Did you look at the Nuggets title? They're like, we can't help you.
Wasn't there a warning? But if you do get hurt and it's not your fault, Backus and Schenker are there to help. They win for Colorado families. They've been doing that for more than 25 years. They've won over $1 billion for their clients, and they have not charged their clients until they've won them that money. That's what they do. It's free to speak with them. It is free to enlist their services, and if they win that money for you, then they'll charge you once they make sure you're taken care of. They've got more locations serving all of Colorado right now, including neighborhood offices in Denver, Aurora, Englewood, and Fort Collins. Call Backus and Schenker at 222-2222. If you forget that, it's the number 2.
It is Palisade Peach season, isn't it? This
It
is
is.
like when they harvest them. Let's go, baby.
Oh, yeah.
We're a little. It's not quite yet.
A little
It's
early.
It's a little early.
September.
Usually, Palisade Peach season coincides with football kickoff.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Like you go, you buy a box of semi-ethical peaches from a farmer. Actually, incredibly ethical
Very
peaches,
ethical peaches.
from a farmer at a gas station, and then your home is full of fruit flies for the rest of the year.
Good story there. All right, we have a list by
This is from
my
Palisade. This
by
happened.
my count, Alyssa. We have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams that have made the final cut. We've got to cut this into
Look at that graphic.
the top 5 presented by Bet365. A top 5. This is going to be unbelievably difficult. Unbelievably
Thank
difficult.
God it's not top 365. That would be daunting.
I'm going to go ahead and say the 2011 Mavericks to me are easily in this list.
Yes.
I think it would be insane to take them off. I think they are for sure going to be a finalist. I don't know where yet.
No question.
Who would you recommend as the next most ethical champion?
Bucks.
No way. I don't know.
No way.
Oh.
Wait, hang on. I'm allowed to take the Denver Nuggets, right?
Well, I mean,
What's the least ethical thing the Nuggets did en route to this title? They waited on Jamal to get healthy. They didn't trade him, like
They
kick him to the curb.
they made
Michael
nary-
Porter Jr.
they
stuck with
made
him.
nary an unethical step.
What's the? You don't think there was a single unethical thing they did in the entire thing?
I'm waiting for that answer.
Tim Conley side door exit. Maybe that's it. That's like a. I mean, maybe not.
But that just
I guess
cost him,
I guess
you know?
actually, yeah. Tim Conley left. He didn't get.
Tell
he
me-
just left.
tell
You're
me
right.
the
You know
unethical-
what? The Nuggets are. I'm not saying
Did
they're
the-
second. I'm just saying that they are the second one
The
to get
brand of
nominated into
basketball
the
they
finals.
played, extremely ethical.
I'm going to go to the 2014 Spurs for me. I
Okay,
think they
yeah.
belong there. They could have broken it up after coming up just short. They
Yep.
could have been disheartened.
Yep.
Tim Duncan was old, but somehow reinvented himself.
Yeah.
They played the most beautiful passing game I've ever seen, including from the Nuggets.
I think on this list, I really do want to nominate the 04 Pistons.
They beat the Lakers. They came out a little bit out of nowhere.
And it's team ball. It's one of they're like the actual Atlanta Hawks example. They're like the Uber example of, yes, they had better caliber players, but it's the starting
And
five.
they built it. They built it.
built it.
All
They
right.
built it out of
So-
nothing, out of rubble.
So you have the 2015
ball.
Warriors and the 2022 Warriors. I think the 2015 Warriors are more ethical than the 2020.
I agree.
The first time was
one.
as ethical as it gets.
Yeah. So I'm not going to pencil them in yet. We're kind of going for this last one. We've got, let's see, the 2010 Lakers. We just put in to not be biased.
What about the
They're going out.
1954 Celtics? Do we know
We're
about
only
that?
doing post Jordan. So now we have the 2016 Cavs, 2019 Raptors, 2021 Bucks. The 2019 Raptors and 21 Bucks to me feel like the same team. You know, like they're kind
Yeah.
of spiritually.
It's good for hoops. They won. I'm glad they won. I don't want to take anything away from them. I don't know if either are the most impressive runs I've seen.
Impressive, not the word. Were they built in the right way? Did they use the rules available to them and do it in a way that they can look at themselves in the mirror the next day?
For a fan base that deserves it and all those things.
Ethical.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think the 2016 Cavs, 2019 Raptors, or 2021 Bucks are more ethical than the 2015 Warriors.
Oh, let me think about this. Let's talk
Warriors
about
invented a new way of playing.
Chat wants us to consider the moving screens.
From
Every Warriors team that's ever been assembled.
Draymond Green kicking people in the balls.
There's some of
boy.
that.
Oh boy, that was not the first go round though.
But the first Warriors
Zaza
title,
was later.
the first Warriors title does it.
They
for me.
didn't. They don't have any. The only curious
Zaza was
addition.
2016.
The only curious part about their construction was Andre Iguodala.
But is that more curious than LeBron forcing his way to the Cavs and
Nope.
trading it? Yeah, there's no way. So Cavs are out. even though they did win for a franchise that hadn't won forever.
That was pretty unethical.
I have my LeBron glasses on for that one. You're like, oh yeah, he orchestrated a roster from another city and then penned a letter to Sports Illustrated.
Didn't even tell Pat Riley. Like Pat Riley wasn't even in the loop.
I don't even think he told
Not
Dwayne Wade.
particularly ethical.
All right, yeah.
So you've got the 2015 Warriors, 19 Raptors, or $21.
I'm going 15 Warriors. I'm going 15 Warriors.
That's me too. They just were ethical. What they became later, this would be an easy call if it weren't for what they became.
Did you either die a hero ethically or play long enough to see yourself to become the unethical villain?
Well,
but in the Warriors' case, they went long enough to go all the way back to ethical again.
All right.
Bro.
So of these ones, I think the Warriors...
I hate this word now.
We have the Pistons, the Spurs, the Nuggets, and the Mavericks. All right.
I have an idea for number one.
Who is it?
I'd probably, if I could look at it, I would say the Denver Nuggets title.
Can you make an honest case that it is more ethical than the 2011 Mavericks?
Yes, I can.
The Mavericks suffered longer.
The Mavericks beat
Did
the
they?
Heatles team too.
How did they suffer longer?
They did beat an evil Heatles team. Nuggets beat an evil Lakers team and an evil Suns team.
But I think that Heatles,
But it wasn't in the
team,
finals.
and it was their first year, and they did actually just walk through the East, and then they're coughing and making fun
All
of
right,
dirt.
fine. Listen, I put Nuggets at 2. Fine.
I actually think that's it.
Do you think the Nuggets are the second most ethical team?
I just can't poke a single hole in the way the Nuggets went about their business.
Chat actually, they mentioned the Monte.
one.
They did tell Monte Morris they weren't going to trade him, and then traded him, right? At least that seems to be the case from the outside.
That's not that. Come on.
I mean, I don't think it's a cardinal sin, but you asked me to poke a single hole.
I guarantee there's something of that in that match. I just don't know all the specific details.
Also,
I just know this.
that's like different, I think.
And that framing, by the way, I don't want to. That's
Yeah.
not like. I just know that Monte has talked about that openly.
Yeah, I would feel bad too if I got traded to the Wizards while everybody else got to celebrate a title. It'd suck, man.
Yeah, well, and I guess there was some unethical behavior on Bones Highland part.
How?
Demanding a trade. That was not the title run,
But
but I'm
was
saying
he the Nuggets?
no, he was not. Clearly,
That's the
not
thing.
The
He was
Nuggets.
not the. He was the non-champion Nuggets. He wasn't part of the champion Nuggets.
Oh man, this is tough.
The way Thomas Bryant was. All right, so we got Mavs Nuggets. I think we're off to a good start. I think the 2014 Spurs were so ethical. Team ball to
we
me.
need to answer. Like, you guys can at least admit that things fell right for the Nuggets this year. No, wait. No, I cannot.
Fell
They
right
beat-
for them.
What-
Dude, everybody said they were going to lose to the Lakers. They swept them.
How did
they
it fall
fell right for them and that they were so much
That
better
they won
than
the title.
everybody else.
How
I
did
love
it-
it. I love Lake. That's such an East Coast take. Good job, Lakey Ball. Good job.
How did it fall right for them? I don't understand.
It
such
felt
an East
right
Coast
for us
thing.
because they won the title, and we still get to do the Fraud City thing because they
Oh,
won.
yeah.
They
Oh,
won.
you're right. Thanks, Lakey
Fraud
Ball.
City.
So perfect.
Fraud City.
I don't even understand this.
I'm telling
comment.
you,
Like,
the worst dynasty of all time. I can't wait.
who was the team
Things
we were?
just fell right for the dynasty,
Who was
man.
the team we were supposed to play, or the player?
I mean,
that
I
was-
admit playing an 8 seed in the finals is ideal, but that's not their fault, you know.
It's not. They're not an 8 seed. They were the best team in the East. Sorry.
Yeah.
And we know who to blame.
I think so. I think Spurs are 3. Actually, man, the Warriors are up there for me. I think the Pistons to me might be the least of these 5.
The least of the top 5. The least ethical of the most ethical. It's fine.
Yeah.
Listen, it's an honor to appear on this list.
All right, you ready for this, Alyssa? Number 1, we went with the 2011 Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, God,
The most.
Put the Nuggets. Put the Nuggets.
You
We
want
have
to-
to. Look at this graphic. How can you make this graphic and have none of the Nuggets be the number 1?
No, they could be 2. I think they could be 2.
Oh, I hate this.
This list gains so much credibility by us not putting the Nuggets 1.
Fine.
Even though we put this 2.
I kind of do feel like with Eric though on this one. I'm like, they're so close that we might as well just fudge it here, make it a funnier graphic.
All right,
Yeah, dude,
screw
let's
it.
get the.
You know what? Nuggets number 1,
Let's get this-
2023.
let's get this-
Denver 23 Nuggets. Let's go,
get the-
baby.
let's get the streets
You got to
talking.
capitalize the Nuggets. The most ethical. Let's get the streets talking. They're going to be so mad.
They're going to hear a lot about ethical basketball.
Oh, I
coming
can't
from
wait.
Denver, Colorado, for the rest
People
of
are
their
gonna,
lives.
we're getting canceled. Number 2, 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Very ethical. Very ethical indeed. Very ethical.
Well, hold on. So
Mark Cuban's going to win that ethical title, though?
No, dude, this Dirk title is one of the greatest titles ever.
It's a Dirk
It's
title.
a
But Cuban
beloved-
just happened to be there.
Yeah.
He just happened to be there.
Yeah.
He was along for the ride. So that's the 2011
Dallas Mavericks.
Just Mavericks.
Oh. They're
Okay.
from Dallas, if you're wondering.
Oh, yeah, you got to change the color on every single one of these, huh?
Super
Look
fun.
at Number 3, the 2014 Spurs. This is my favorite non-Nuggets team, I think, of all time, man. They played, Boris Diaw, Jokic before Jokic. The guy who many people are saying should have been finals MVP in that series.
It's so crazy, like when you work with people long enough and then you see their biases come out, and then you realize it's because they see themselves in
100%.
Brendan Vogt loves Facu. Adam Maras can't stop bloviating over
Devin Derrick Rose, I'm telling you, man. Number 4, 2015 Warriors.
Just like him. Yeah.
2015 Warriors, ethical.
They might have an argument for 3. I'm not like married to it, but I just want to mention it now that we're looking at it.
Here's what I will say. When the Warriors lost in Game 7 of the finals, what did they do?
When the Warriors lost in Game 7?
Yeah, when they lost, what did they do? They went out and got Kevin Durant. When the Spurs lost in Game 7 of the finals, what did they do?
Nobody's going anywhere.
No one's going anywhere,
We're running
boys.
this shit back.
We're running it back.
All right.
Checkmate. 2004 Pistons, number 5, rounding it out. 2004 Pistons.
I love it.
This is the hilarious list.
It's a great list. I think it's a great list.
I think it's a great list. You guys agree with us? Or have we been ethical in our assessment of these teams?
Somebody said the Mavericks should be the number 1. Get the hell out of here. Look at that graphic.
Get out of here. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging with us in a very fun Wednesday hump day edition of the DMVR Nuggets podcast.
Bro.
The good news about it, we got 2 more shows, including tomorrow. We're going to be right back here.
Oh, this show was dripping with ethics.
So ethical.
Let's get out of here.
Was it ethics or morals?
It's ethics. Those two are not exactly the same thing.
They're not.
No.
Go end the show, Alyssa.
Listen, I gave you the cue to end this thing.
Get me out of here.